I want to talk about head trash. Let's think about some common thoughts that we have, some common negative thoughts. Like, let's be specific about some common negative thoughts that we have.
It's a straightforward application.
What?
It's a straightforward application.
Straightforward application. Yeah, straightforward application. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Or it'll be easy, right? Something like that. This is a basic install, right? That's good. That's good. So let's dig into that. So what creates head trash when somebody says it's a straightforward application?
You start making plans for the evening.
It's okay. There we go. All right. So we're going down a good line here. But what's another reason why it builds head trash when you're told that it's going to be a straightforward application, then you show up and it's not a straightforward application? What is it about that?
You have expectations.
You have expectations? But what about the other person? We're going to pretend like Tyler's not here. What is it about the other person? What is it about the other person when they say that to you and then you find out that it's not? What are the thoughts that you have towards that person?
You feel like they didn't think through the job.
You feel like they didn't think through the job, but what are you saying about their intent?
They don't like your family.
They don't care about you. No, you're saying that they don't care, right? That person, those are the thoughts that start to creep in. That person doesn't care. What are some other things? Let's think about leadership. People who, your bosses, people who tell you what to do. What are some common head trash thoughts that can seep in about those people?
Pushing copper for the fourth time this week. This guy must hate me.
Must hate me, yeah. They're singling me out, right? That happens with dispatch a lot. So with dispatch, it's like, what? I was just over here. Now they're going to send me over there, right? It's 5 o'clock. I was on standby. I saw them on standby. There was no calls. All of a sudden, now I'm getting sent across town. What's going on? They must have it in for me. And then what do you start to think about? If you do, Britton was joking, but if you do start to think that somebody seems like they're behaving in a way that they have it in for you, what do you start to think about?
It reinforces that idea that they do.
Reinforces the idea, but you begin to think about maybe the potential reasons why they would have it in for you, right? And there's two categories. One category is you think in the past about things that have happened, little interactions that occurred, or you start to think about the other person who's not having to do the thing that you're having to do, right? And what do you start thinking about that other person?
Why does he get the easy?
Why does he get the easy jobs, right? And then you start to build a story about why that person gets the easy jobs or why that person got sent home early, right?
Because someone had a twisted ankle and go after COVID too.
Yeah, we call it the twisted ankle, am I right? Yeah. No, sorry, it's getting a little too specific up in here. The point is that we build a narrative, right? So this is what I'm wanting to point out about head trash. Head trash is a story. Head trash is a story. And it's a story that builds upon itself. And usually it starts to suck in other stories. It's like a black hole, right? It starts to bring in, it creates its own gravity, and it starts to suck in everything from everywhere around. And it builds this big narrative, right? Have you ever had that happen where somebody comes up to you, all upset about something, they want to talk to you about something, and then they start to express this whole story, and you're like not even a participant in it? Anybody married here?
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, and I make that joke, but in my relationship, I'm actually that person where Leilani's like, I don't know what you're talking about. None of that ever happened. I'm like, but I have feelings. You don't respect me.
It's like when you're having a bad day and you drop your coffee and you spill it, and what comes out of your mouth is, see what I'm talking about? This is the kind of thing that's happening to me all the time right now. It's like, once you're in that space, everything that happens to you is somehow connected.
It's part of that narrative, right?
Do we run into any customers like that?
No.
So we are both victims of head trash, and we all have head trash. So meaning we have to interact with people who have head trash, and we have head trash. And so the first step in working on head trash is first just recognizing its existence. That like, we've all got it, and the way you can tell when you're starting to get it is when everything starts to become part of a story. Everything, and then when you start to look at it carefully, if you really look at it, how many facts are actually in that story, right? And how many things are assumptions or disappointments or reading into somebody else's motives. So those are the things to pay attention to. What you're thinking about another person, is it really a fact, or is it a read-in to their motives about why they did something? Right? It's the old saying of, we would worry a lot less what other people thought of us if we really knew how little they did. Which is kind of like, ow, that hurts, people don't think about me. But the truth is like, we all got our own stuff going on. Everybody's got their own stuff. Think about how often you're really thinking about me or Sam or Bert or somebody other person. Like, yeah, it comes up every once in a while when there's an interaction, but it's not like you're spending the majority of your day thinking about another person, other than like the people who you're closest to, your spouse, your kids, that kind of thing. So in a work context, it's really good to just take a minute and just like shed that and do it regularly. It's kind of like, every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is, the garbage man comes and you got to take your trash cans and put them on the side of the road, and the garbage leaves and it's empty, and then you start over again. That's kind of what you have to do. You have to give yourself spaces where you just take out your head trash. Like, all right, I recognize this building up here. And sometimes it does take a conversation. Sometimes it takes kind of getting with the person, just being like, hey, are we good? Like, I just want to make sure, is there anything going on here? And usually what you're going to find when you do that, people are like, no, like, what, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? That's not happening. That's not to say that other people don't need to improve or have areas of deficiency, but the fix to that is just to recognize that so do we. So does everyone else. So when it comes to head trash, this is a really short little class. Because you could belabor this point. You could write a book about this in our personal lives, but just to remind you that people aren't against you. Yes, disappointments will come, and when they come, you can look at the source of why they come and you can talk about it. Like, hey, why don't we just not say that it's an easy application? Why don't we just not say that? Why don't we just instead say, what is the application? And try to be thorough about it. That's fair, right? Jesse and I have talked a lot about this idea of the phraseology of this is an easy job. Like when you're talking to a client even, this is an easy job. Well, why would you use that language, right? It might be easy for you, but if it is easy for you, it's because you've spent a really long time getting good at it. So just because it's easy for you, it isn't easy for them. So we don't need to use minimalizing language for other people. And then just keep really good tabs on your expectations. Because it was funny, anytime there's anything that becomes a pattern, this happens with kids. Like if you start to like, oh, hey, yeah, I'll pitch in a little for gas for this, or I'll do a little for that, or here's a few bucks for this. The minute that you do that more than once, now if you stop doing it, it's a problem. Because an expectation is established. We see this in business all the time. You might do something that's a favor, just like a little extra, hey, we had a good quarter, we'll throw a couple bucks here or there. As soon as you do that more than once, it becomes this, well, that's just how it's going to always be. And it's just the human nature. We all have it. And so you have to tend to that even when you're interacting with other people. But within yourself, you don't want to be that person because it limits you. At the end, that's at the end of the day, you don't want to be limited. None of us want to be limited. And we certainly don't want to be limited by our own head trash. So as it relates to your expectations, work hard to manage them. In your personal life, if you've got somebody at home who's waiting for you to get home, don't set unrealistic expectations about when you're going to be there, right? If you start doing that, it creates disappointment. We do that with our own language towards other people, but tend to that within yourself. Just take a minute today and weekly, regularly, daily, to just say, all right, I'm going to take out the head trash. This is not facts. These are not realities. These are just my emotions. And emotions, while they're necessary, they're the reason why we do a lot of the things that we do, they can really get in the way of us doing a good job. They can really get in the way of us being productive. And at the end of the day, just thinking about what do you really want in business? What do you want in your personal life? We all really want growth. We want to be better than we were. We want to be able to look back 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and think, yeah, I've grown. I'm a better person. I'm better at my job. I'm nicer to deal with. I have better relationships, right? Those are all things that we want. And head trash helps with none of those things. It helps with none of the progress, none of the growth. And again, as a final encouragement, if you have that head trash with somebody, then just check in. That's all. Don't blame, but just check in. and then you can have a productive conversation, then move on, let it go. You don't want to be a person who digs up the past or builds these really long narratives or stories about what people are doing, because people are just being themselves. And this isn't just true at Kalos, this is true of every job. You see people who, even bosses or leaders who are really bad, like just bad. It's not you. They were just that way and you showed up, right? Most times when somebody's angry with you, they're not angry with you. They were just angry and you happen to be the person who was there. And it's because a lot of things have probably gone on in their life that are highly unpleasant. Everybody's got demons. Everybody's got things that they're dealing with. And so you just realize that, move on, do you, do a good job, care about the right things, treat people well, take out the trash.
Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed it and got something out of it, if you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up button to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notifications bell to be notified when new videos come out. HVAC School is far more than a YouTube channel. You can find out more by going to hvacrschool.com, which is our website and hub for all of our content, including tech tips, videos, podcasts, and so much more. You can also subscribe to the podcast on any podcast app of your choosing. You can also join our Facebook group if you want to weigh in on the conversation yourself. Thanks again for watching.